Hello and welcome to Bleed Extra with myself, Ryan Whyte. I'm a graphic designer and I'm joined by Jacque Moodley. He's an art director.
What up?
Yes, so this is Bleed Extra. If you want to know what Bleed Extra is, check out our previous episodes. There's a very clever rationale behind why it's called Bleed, and then again, Bleed Extra. So anyways, let's get straight into it. Last week, we were speaking about, we're finishing up the conversation about relationships in advertising, both romantic relationships and also platonic relationships. And we finished that conversation up, and then we moved on to freelance versus permanent. And yeah, that's the kind of stuff we're chatting about. We're chatting about life in advertising. So yeah, is there anything else you want to add on those two topics before we go into the next?
No, I think we covered it. If people haven't made the decisions about freelance or permanent now, they never will.
They never will, bro. They never will.
Never.
So what's the next topic? A couple of things that I mentioned in the intro 2 episodes ago was, I think mental health was one of them. Is that too rough to get into on Thursday, the 8th of April, 2021, in the midst of a pandemic?
I mean, we might as well. It's a hot topic right now. It's hot goss, you know? It's what the kids are talking about. There is no mental health in advertising, I think that's the answer.
There is no mental health.
Hey?
Did you say there's no mental health, or there is?
There isn't. No, I'm joking. I think, look, we've all worked with people in advertising who have had mental health issues. And I don't know if it's like an industry that attracts these people or these people get it from advertising. So I think that's the thing. Does advertising give you mental health problems, or is advertising a safe haven for people with mental health issues? What do you think? Let's unpack.
Or does advertising exasperate it or bring it to the surface, or, you know?
Yeah.
So that's the other thing. So I think, I think all humans are, finely balanced, and there's triggers. So if you push those triggers within humans, stuff will arise, you know? But yeah, I think there's stress in every industry. I think advertising has different kinds of stress. And I think it kind of ties into what we were talking about last week, where it's like this kind of stress that you can't quantify. Do you know what I mean? Where it's like, you don't know why you're stressed, because it should be fun. We're having tequila. We are, we're watching cool videos at 3 a.m. We're on pitch and stuff. So it's hard to not quantify, but correlate why it is that we're struggling, and maybe that's a contributing factor, where it's like you don't know when to turn off the fun. You know what I mean?
I get that, but for most people, like, I don't know, man, like, I'm in advertising. I've never had tequila at 3 a.m. in the morning. Like, I've been a pretty, like, good, I don't say good guy, but like, there's nothing wrong with drinking tequila at 3 in the morning. But like, I've led a pretty, sober life. And like the other day I went for a vitality health check. You know those things every year where you're like on Discovery and they give you those vitality checks. And it's like, I've got high blood pressure. And I was like, how the fuck do I have high blood pressure? I mean, I eat pretty healthy. I exercise often. I do the right things. And they're like, it's probably just stress. And I'm like, but is my job that stressful? And then I think of like, being on the pitch or like getting shit done quickly for presentation or whatever. I'm like, yeah, probably. But I think I'm so like used to it now that stress doesn't seem like stress to me. I don't know if that makes sense. But like, I don't know, when was the last time you were like pulling your hair out stressed? Or have you ever been like it? Because you're also a very chill guy, which is like your whole vibe. So,
I mean, you may not have had tequila at 3 in the morning, but surely you remember a time where people were drinking like on pitch and that kind of thing, because that for me is a thing. When the announcement comes in, we're pitching, then all of a sudden there's this unwritten law where it's like, cool, anything past 5 p.m. we can crack beers open. Do you know what I mean? So not necessarily tequila. I'm sure on the occasion there's a little bit of pick-me-ups that happen. But I think it's just one of those things where people are like, cool, it's past 5 p.m. we're pitching, let's crack a beer. And it's just like, it's a natural thing that happens, you know, and it's accepted.
There's nothing wrong with the beer and stuff. I think what we're saying is the industry at large is making you stressed and it's impacting your mental health. Like alcohol, I don't know, because now we're bordering on alcoholism, and I don't know if that's like an inherent part of advertising. I'm sure there are a few alcoholics in advertising, but there's a few alcoholics at Investec, definitely. So I mean, anyways, but yeah, sorry, man. Like, go on.
No. So I'm just saying, I think that is maybe a contributing factor that we don't know when our job begins or when it ends, because it's like a light-hearted industry. It's I don't know what the correct term is, but I mean it's seen as fun, you know. It's a fun industry. So, you know, when 5 p.m. comes, and then when does your personal life start? When does your job end? Because I mean, if it's all fun, then yeah. So I think that's a contributing factor, at least for me. I've found that it's like, it's one of those things where you can buy into that lifestyle too much, and if you spend all your time there, and there is an arcade machine there and a pinball machine and foosball, then it's like, what happens when I go home? You know, like, I just want to be at the office the whole time. So I don't know if that's like, I don't know if that is a contributing factor, but I just think that boundary between where work finishes and your personal life starts, I think that can contribute to stress. Yeah, just like no routine, that kind of thing, where it's like you lose your personal life in a way because you're spending all your time at the office because it's so fun. But then you're also like verbally abused and like, you know, sometimes, or whatever the story is, you know.
Yeah, man. I think obviously we're in different times now, and like those borders or those boundaries between personal life and home life are completely removed. But I mean, if you're talking about like back in the day, or when, you know, everything was normal, I think it's up to you, right? I think people who don't want to go home and don't want to deal with, sometimes the home life is boring, and for a lot of single people, like you know, I've lived alone for a long time. Sometimes you don't want to go home to a fucking empty house, man. Like it's not, you know, that's also sad. Or like cook for yourself. You'd rather have like fucking chicken licken at the office with like your friends than going home alone, because that's also fucking terrible all the time. Like, I mean, some people really enjoy it. I enjoy my alone time. I've lived alone for what now? Over 10 years, 12 years. And I enjoy it, but I've also got a kid. So I have to make that like, that cut off. I have to go, okay, well, I'm going to work until this time. Obviously, if there's special circumstances like a pitch or whatever, then I'll work later. But I have to go at 5 or 5:30 or sometimes 4, because I have to pick up my kid from school or whatever the fuck, aftercare. I have to make that like separation and go, guys, this is when my day ends. I'm going home now. I'm going to like spend time with my kid. And some people, you know, spend time with their families, but some people just don't want to. And I mean, you can make excuses and be like, oh, I'm busy or whatever. But if you just don't want to go home and you'd rather be at the office, that's on you, man. That's like, sometimes like I know we blame our industry for a lot of things, but sometimes people also make excuses for themselves. And they're like, oh, I've worked with people who are like, oh, honey, I've seen them on the fucking phone. Hey, honey, well, I'm so swamped. I can't come home right now. They're fucking chilling, man. They're chilling. They're watching YouTube videos. They're not really doing much. They just don't want to go the fuck home. And I think you can't blame, I mean, yeah, the industry has its things, and like, yeah, we've all worked late when we wanted to be at home, and I've had relationships fuck out purely because, you know, I'm spending so much time at the office. But like, at a certain point, you're a grown up, man, and you have to like also split those things. When you're a junior and you have to do whatever the fucking, if the team comes to you at 4 o'clock and they're like, we need you to mount, or there's just happened to me countless times, we need you to mount 16 fucking things on Sherpas on this bored for out of the month or whatever the fuck it is, you have to do it. There's no excuses. I remember I had an anniversary dinner. Who was I dating? I was dating someone in the industry, actually. I'm not gonna say names, but anyways, it was an anniversary, and then yeah, I was wearing like, like nice black pants, like leather shoes. Like I was going out, like it's a proper, like a whole year anniversary date thing. And yeah, at like 5 o'clock, one of who was it, Les and Marvin, they're like, no, we need you to shout out to Les and Marvin if you guys are around. We need you to mount like all these fucking Neotel print ads and billboard markups. And I was like, fuck, man. And for the next 2 hours, I sat in a spray glue booth. No masks that time. We weren't fucking wearing masks. Spray glue, just like trying to hold my nose. My fucking shirt, my pants, everything was just covered in spray glue. Obviously didn't make it for the dinner. Obviously got broken up with. Yeah, and I mean, like that wasn't up to me, but like the higher you go, the more say you have and with your time, I think. And like we're talking about people now our age, or people, seniors or creative directors or whatever. Like those guys can call the shots, man, a little bit, and they can go, I'm going the fuck home and I want to spend time with my family. And if you don't, it's because you don't want to, for the most part. And now with like working from home and everyone's got Wi-Fi and shit, you can do your job wherever, but spend time with your people, man. And I think that helps with mental health, like having people around you. Unless you got shit going on at home and like that's impacting your mental health, then maybe work is an escape. But yeah, it's up to you.
Yeah, I think it is a little bit difficult when it's like you've got to bring back an old metaphor from one of our previous episodes, but like a Hansel and Gretel kind of situation where you've got this candy house and it's you kind of just, you can't help but stay there. So I think that's the point I'm trying to make. It's like, maybe agencies back in the day made it difficult for you to like want to go home, like maybe as a single person even. But I think it's also, you have that thing where if you're walking out the door at 5 p.m., like people will make comments like, oh, half day. Like how often have you heard that? And there's that guilt element to it, and I understand it is a choice. And the more senior you are, the more you can call the shots and just be like, I'm going home. But is that fair? That's someone who's mid-weight, who has 2 kids. They're like, okay, cool. And also I think like having kids shouldn't be a reason, it shouldn't be like a get out of jail free card, like, oh, I can go home. Like other people who have chosen not to have kids should also have that. Not right. It's just like, why can't we go home when work officially ends? Do you know what I mean? You have to have
but I'm saying
go early,
But somebody has to set the tone, right? So either you're the leader of the agency or someone has to go, well, guys, finish your work up and go the fuck home when you're done. Don't stay here just to stay here. And a lot of people in industry, look, man, we've worked at agencies where people have slept in the office, not because like the work was hectic, but because they wanted to sleep in the office. Like they didn't want to go home. They didn't want to, they didn't want to have to travel. And sometimes, if you're talking about like money and stuff, sometimes people don't have money to travel back and forth to the office. Like not even juniors, like, midweights or like, some like actual creators couldn't go home and come back. So they maybe bring a bag one day, keep a change of clothes at the office and literally change at the office. And like, I don't know why you're laughing. It's like a fucking sad thing, man. Like it's ridiculous. I've given people money to go home and come back. Do you know what I mean? Like if someone goes like, listen, man, I don't have money to go catch a taxi or whatever it is to go to the home. That's a real fucking thing.
Yeah. I'm not laughing at the people in the unfortunate situation. I'm laughing at the fact that that is an actual situation. It's hilarious to me that can even happen, because it's.
Well, I mean, then you go, cool. Why are people being paid so poorly? Or why aren't people? Yeah, okay. Man, fuck. It's anyways.
So I'll ask you this then. Which one do you think is more prominent, right? People wanting to stay at the agency because they want to, or people who are just, they kind of like guilted into staying there They feel like if they want a promotion, they have to stay there, and they got to put in the hours, and it's just one of those things. Do you know what I'm
I
saying?
think the people don't want to. I think the people who don't want to go home guilt the people who want to go home and to stay.
Yeah.
I think it's both. But I think I've been in situations as well where like, and especially at like my first agency when I was like junior, and they had the culture. The agency had the culture of going home at 5 was a sin. And I lived in Alberton and I worked in Sandton, the middle of Sandton. So like I still have to travel like an hour and a half most days, each way. So you just sometimes hung out at the agency because, that was the thing to do. Even if you weren't doing anything, you just had to be seen. And if you were seen, and if you came in early and you were seen to stay late, then people thought, oh, this guy's working really hard. Not like let's promote him, but let's give him more opportunities. Let's get him on the actual TV ad job. Or let's have him work with one of the better teams so he can learn from the better team. So look, you have to play that game as well, especially as a junior. You have to kind of put in the hours, make yourself visible, make yourself always available to help. And that's how you move up. But what I'm saying is after there's a certain point in your career where you go, well, I don't have to prove myself to everyone. I've got a decent portfolio. I've got good work under my belt. I've got, people know me, I'm reliable, I get shit done. Then you should be able to call your shots, man. And I'm not saying that having a kid is a get out of jail free card, but I made the conscious decision when I had a kid to go, well, this job has taken a lot of my time and relationships and affected like lots of shit in my life. It's not going to affect my relationship with my kid. If I fucked it up, that's on me. But I can't blame my job. Sure, there's some times where I haven't been able to hang out with him. His mom has to keep him because I'm on a shoot, I'm on a pitch or whatever. Like even recently, I was on a pitch and his mom had to keep him. It became a big thing. But yeah, man, like if you're not a junior and you're not trying to prove yourself or whatever, I think you need to take care of yourself. And I think mental health now and family is important, man. And like there's always this thing where your job, like once you get fired from your job, like no one's, or like when you're on your deathbed and people's going to ask you, oh, nobody from your job is going to come and be like, oh, I wish I spent more time with you. It's your family and your loved ones, your partners, whatever the fuck. They need you more than your job does. Your job is, advertising is a special job because you are supposed to give your all to it. It's not a job, it's a career. It's like something that it's a part of you and you're supposed to be passionate about it and give it your all. But I think people are learning, and I think the advertising industry is the lost to learn this lesson. But like, a job's a job, man, and like everything else is more important. And you perform better at your job if you're happy, and you're happy if you spend time with the people you love, and that that all kind of works together. And I think the industry at large was bad at it. And I know it's gonna be weird to say, man, but I think COVID's the best thing that's happened to our industry, because now, before, you know where it's like when you're at agency and like traffic's monitoring you fucking 24/7, and they're asking you when you go on lunch, where the fuck are you when you're coming back to the office? And like, and agencies, like cool agencies still do that. Like it just depends on who's working there. And now traffic has had to let go, or like the agency has had to let go and trust the employees and not just advertising, any industry, but they have to trust the employees will get the job done. And we fucking have, because what choice do we have? Like deadlines have not been missed.
Yeah.
Pitches have been won. Do you know what I mean? And all from the comfort of your home, with your family there, with your loved ones, with your kids, with your parents, with your dog, whatever the fuck it is. So I think it's good. I think whatever has happened for a reason. And it's shitty. People are dying. I'm not taking anything away from that. But I think people are realizing that they can get their jobs done within working hours and still have a life.
Yeah.
And this idea of like staying late to the office to prove yourself, or staying late to get promoted and all that shit, it's dead, man.
And that's because we're living in the new normal.
Whatever you want to call it.
So if this is the new normal, before was it the old crazy?
Yeah, if you want to, the old crazy, but the old yeah, the old way of doing things just, it had to break at some point. It had to, like, I don't know. Maybe things will go snap back to normal and people will be drinking at the office at 6. But I don't think so, man. I don't think it can go back to normal, because it's like we've seen the light. We know that, oh, there's this balance thing now that I can do. Even though some people, there is this thing where people are working harder now because there is no switch off. There's no like division between work and home. And when I leave the office, I'm with my babies or whatever. Now it's like the babies are running in, or not the babies, whatever. You have to do your stuff at home. Like, yeah, it's a weird thing where these worlds have merged and there is no separation.
Yeah.
But yeah, man, again, on you, you have to make those, you have to decide that you're going to separate these things. You're going to decide that this is how long I'm going to work for, this is how many hours I'm going to give to this job. And I mean, even like myself, I think I went to bed last night and I heard emails coming in. And I was like, I could go check those emails, but surely that email isn't that important. That needs to be checked at like 9:30 or 10. I'm sure that at 8 o'clock, I can look at that email and respond to whatever it is. Because you have to create those boundaries. Otherwise people, and boundaries are the thing. You've told me about boundaries in relationships, and sometimes I haven't listened, but sometimes you have to set those boundaries in any sort of relationship, whether it's work-wise, whether it's like romantic, even friendships. You have to go, I will not fucking stand for this. This is where I'm at. And people have to respect it, man. And yeah, it's not like you won't get your work done. It's not like you're a shit employee, but you have to go, from the hours of fucking 8 to 6, I'm all yours. Not 8:30 to 5:30 or whatever. 8 to 6 even. You can go, look, I'll give you half an hour on each end. I'm fucking yours. And sometimes on weekends we have to work. I'll be there if shit needs to get done. But then respect my time. And like, I'm on a kid, and I know we're having the kids discussion again, but I'm on a WhatsApp group with like all the parents from my kid's school. And on the WhatsApp group, the rules are, do not fucking contact anyone on this group between the hours of 6 and 7 in the morning. 6 p.m., 7 a.m. Because that's family time. That's the time. And we're drawing this division. Do not fuck with it. And I think, and creators, man, creators are sensitive and creators are like soft, and especially juniors, like they want to make a good impression, whatever. But I think you have to set boundaries, man, wherever you are. And then people have to respect it, or they'll find someone else to do the stuff.
If you get an email that's like after 6 or it's late at night, it's probably a newsletter or an update from IT saying the VPN is down or something like that.
Exactly. I mean, sometimes. Usually. Let me check what the email is. I'll tell you now.
But it's just that fear. It's that fear of like, this could be a request. You know, it's that PTSD that we have where it's like, I better check just in case, you know?
Yeah.
You get cold shivers down your spine. You're like, oh.
Yeah, it was just, I was a meeting request. Yeah.
Anyway. Okay. So just to sum it up from my side, I think personally, in my opinion, and the way if I had to look back, to the last 10 years or so, for me, the biggest contributors have been not having that boundary and just like drinking at work after hours. So I think alcohol, and it's that party culture that has contributed for me. And then second,
where's all that now? Sorry,
I'm just saying back in the day, like for me.
Yeah. I'm saying all that stuff that made advertising like appealing, it's gone.
Yeah. So it's like a double-edged sword. So it's the same thing that's made it appealing. Like, cool, there's this party kind of job that I can get into, but then that has its toll. And then I think the second thing for me is the like schmooze kind of sucking up culture, where it's like if you need to get a raise, you need to be seen at the parties, you need to go to Royale on a Saturday and like, you know, spread your ideas around and boost your profile in a way where you have to be cool and stuff. So I think, I think
people do that at Royale. I know Royale was the place for that. I thought you had to go to
no, I just used it as an arbitrary example, but
no, the actual places were Friday night bars. Friday night bars, you had to be there. You had to make yourself seen. You had to go. You had to just pull your creative director to the side, give him a shot of tequila, and go, "Hey man, I had this thought. What if we did Wonder Bra ads in 3D or whatever the fuck it was?" I'm just using whose example was that? Tony someone. someone important. Else people are gonna hate me because it's like fuck Johnny, whoever. And I'm like, forgot.
Yeah, there's a cool side to it, but then there's also like within the structure where it's kind of like you have to suck up. And I suppose it's like in any industry, you got to do a fair amount of like sucking up, but I think it's different. It's a different kind, you know, because it's coolness and sucking up and this. And I don't know, maybe in other fields it's like, you know, you got to hit the golf course more, or you got to, I suppose it's the same, you know, but I think that is an element that contributes to it. So I think it's those two things for me. The late night for sure. Late night mixed with alcohol. You know, I think that's a lot of it. And then a bit of not necessarily nepotism, but like the sucking up culture and the schmoozing and stuff. That's for me personally. But yeah, man. Yeah, I think that's all I got to say about that. This hasn't been.
Maybe this is why we are where we are, because we never did that. Well, the drinking and stuff is one thing, but I've never done the sucking up stuff, and like maybe I would be a lot further in my career. But I'm happy where I'm at, you know. Like I don't know what difference would a sucking up have made in my career? I don't know. What do you think? Like you've done yourself a disservice by not sucking up, or is it like you've stuck to your values and you're like, I'm this person, I'm not sucking up, whatever, let my work speak for myself, right? Or what is your vibe? I'm just interested.
So my vibe has been do my job, go home, and have a personal life. That's always been my vibe. Yes, I did get sucked into the party aspect of it, and I think that's fine. You can have that. And I think at some stages a bit too much because, you know, I did have some like personal issues. Then it's similar to what you're speaking about, where it's like, okay, cool, you've got this now crutch at work where you can just chill with people. There's a foosball table and it feels like safe, you know. So sometimes I've been pushed in that direction, but for me, it's been about I just want to work, do my job, go home, and if my work is good, you know, get a pay rise. So very meritocratic kind of vibe where I'm just like, you know, if the work I do, and when I say good, I don't mean award-winning, I mean efficient, you know.
Yeah.
Not necessarily award-winning, but like I'm doing an efficient job that's to a high standard, you know. And I just don't think it's as cut and dry as that. It's kind of like there's more to it. There's the people game. There's a whole bunch of other things where you got to extend your influence. And for me, I've never been that kind of person. I've just been, I want to get my job done. I want to have free time to do the things that I enjoy doing. And yeah, that's the way I've approached things.
Advertising, another thing you enjoy doing?
It's not necessarily the thing I enjoy doing. You know, do I enjoy coming up with ideas to shift a few more, you know, tubes of toothpaste? You know, not really. You know what I mean? But I enjoy problem solving, you know, so it depends what aspect of the job you're talking about. So like, you know, and I enjoy.
No, but I'm asking the question. Yeah.
I enjoy efficiency. So I have this ability to create visuals. And for me, I take joy from the efficiency of it. So it's kind of like, can we come up with a solution quickly in a brainstorm? And then can we produce it efficiently? That for me is cool, you know?
Yeah, no, the reason I'm asking the question is because advertising is seen to be not just a job. It's not it's something it should be the fun, you know, it should be the thing you enjoy doing. Like during office hours and afterwards. That's what I think the problem is. The big misconception is advertising was never or isn't seen as just a job. It's like this lifestyle. You live advertising. You're not just advertising. It's like if you're a musician, right? Somehow advertising has aligned itself, or metaphorically said, it's like being a rock star.
Yeah.
And you're not a rock star. You don't switch off being fucking Mick Jagger, right? You Mick Jagger 24/7. You wake up, snort coke, fuck a stripper, and that's your lifestyle. And I think advertising somehow has lied to itself and said, hey man, this is what advertising is. Advertising is being a rock star. You can't switch off being a rock star. Therefore, you can't go home at 5. Rock stars don't go home at 5. Rock stars stay till the end, till the last beer is drunk and the last stripper or whatever has been.
No. Yeah, I get that.
I'm not saying it's right. I'm just saying that's how advertising has sold itself.
I get that, but put it this way, like for me, the graphic design and art direction elements of it is like, it's something that I can do and I can do it efficiently and to a high standard. And obviously I've earned that. I've been through, the studying, and as well as I've put in the hours at work, under very good mentors, So I think the thing I enjoy about advertising is the people. So for me, it's like, okay, cool. I've got Fred, who's really good at, like, I don't know, rolling out banners, and he does as good a job as I do. I'm not interested in the fact that he can do the job as well as I do. I'm grateful, and I think that's fantastic. But what I like about Fred is he also likes anime. Or do you know what I'm saying? Or he also does doodling on the side and cool illustrations. That's what I like about Fred. And like Mary sells these cool cupcakes. She's channeled her creativity into bakery. And that's what I find interesting is people in advertising. The job is cool, don't get me wrong, but I'm not passionate about like rolling out banners and stuff. I like the fact that I can do it efficiently, and I can download, I've got a good eye for picking a good stock image and creating something that looks polished and great. Don't get me wrong, I enjoy that, but I'm not going to do it in my free time.
Yeah, no, I get you, man. I was just saying. No, I agree completely. I think we agree, we're on the same page. I'm playing devil's advocate, the devil being the industry.
Yeah. No, completely, man.
Sweet, bro. That's it.
Do you have stand-up?
Always.
All right. Yeah, follow us on bleed_advertising on Instagram. Email us bleedadvertising@gmail.com, and look out for a new blog post as well.
Hey.
Yeah, it's gonna be a good one.
Sweet, bro.
And yeah, man, I'll catch you later.
All right, cheers.